Welcome to the True Man Podcast. This is an invitation, a radical reconstruction of a man's masculine heart and soul, and a place of safe community where we dare to ask questions deep seated in a man's soul and explore ways to help you become a better man, a better son, a better dad, and a better spouse. Well, thank you for being with me here today. Do I need to remind you that Father's Day is right around the corner? Buy your dad another tie? Nah, he doesn't need another tie. A pair of socks? Nah, he's good. He's good. I have a better suggestion for you. How about my latest book, True Man, True Ways, a roadmap of discovery to the masculine heart? You see him holding it up here if you're watching the video. All you need to do is head on over to truemanlifecoaching.com. You'll find the books tab. Just click on that, and you will get him one of the best gifts he's ever received, I believe. You will help him be a winner. You'll help him start building his legacy and becoming the man he was designed to be. It doesn't get any better than that, I don't think. Oh, my goodness. Speaking of winning, wow, just jump right into the podcast there. What a great segue for today. I want to talk about winning today. Winning is, let me start with a question. Does winning go through the path of temporary defeat? Interesting question. Well, let's not sugarcoat it, guys. I mean, we know that winning matters. Winning feels good, whether you're winning in business, in battle, in life, and especially at home, right? Now, winning, it's not just about the trophies, the dollar signs, or the applause that comes with it. It's about showing up every day with no one cheering. It's about leading your family with integrity. It's about standing your post, right? As a father, as a husband, as a man, and even when you feel beat down. Now, why do I bring up this idea of winning? Well, over Memorial Day weekend, President Donald J. Trump stood before over 1,000 graduating cadets at West Point, Army graduates, and said something that I think cuts right to the core of what it means to be a warrior, what it means to be a man. He said this: through every challenge and every battle, you'll stand strong, you'll work hard, you'll stay tough, and you will fight, and win. Now, you see, Donald Trump is trying to create a culture of winning here in the United States and bring that culture back to this country. Now, we've had that winning feeling before, and I always knew we could have it again, even though I was starting to have some pretty serious doubts with all the hoo-ha going on around the country. But that winning, it comes in many forms, but hearing our president bring it up, I believe, is critically important. Why, you may ask? Well, it's not something we've been talking about in our country, and therefore it hasn't filtered down into our states, our communities, our homes in the way that it probably should. Having that winning attitude is terribly important for success. Don't you agree? And that's why we need to talk about it. It's not about easy wins. It's about how real men walk through defeat, failure, discouragement, and come out the other side forged, focused, and faithful. So here's the real question that we're unpacking today. Does the path to winning go through temporary defeat? Let's find out. Now, there's a myth out there, a dangerous one, I think, that strong men don't fail. But the truth is, every man will get knocked flat down on his hiney at some point. Haven't you? How about a business deal collapsing? How about a season of burnout in your life? How about a marriage that feels like it's hanging by a thread? How about a son who walks away from the values that you tried to instill? The list goes on and on and on. Temporary defeat doesn't care who you are. But what we know is this: it's coming. If you haven't experienced it, look out, duck, take cover. It's coming. And most of us are going into, coming out of, or are in the middle of something, typically at about all times. But what defines your legacy? It's not when you're knocked down, is it? No, it's what you did after. You want to be the kind of man that your wife can lean on, the kind that your kids can look up to, don't you? I know it's true for me. You want to be, then you want to be better, then you need to learn how to lose, right? You better learn how to fail, right? And rise with more wisdom, strength, and grace. So let's go back to World War II. Let's talk about the Battle of the Bulge in Bastogne, 1944. By the way, if you haven't watched, it was an HBO series a number of years back, the Band of Brothers miniseries. I would strongly encourage you to do so. You can watch that real life story of Easy Company and the role that they played in the Battle of the Bulge. Folks, this small infantry, this small company really won the war for the United States, and it's a great miniseries, and it's a band of brothers in many respects. So in December of 1944, snow covered the forest of Belgium, and the Nazis had launched a surprise attack on American forces. So there's complete chaos going on, and U.S. troops are pinned down in Bastogne, cold, surrendered, outgunned. They're wondering, how the heck are we going to win this thing? And the Germans, they've got their foot on the gas at this point, and they send a message demanding surrender. And Brigadier General Anthony McAuliffe sends a message back. The message read, nuts. That's right, N-U-T-S in all capital letters. What's the translation to that? Ha! Over our dead bodies. Now, that small band of brothers held the line against all odds. They refused to let temporary defeat become final defeat. And of course, reinforcements arrived, the tide turned, and Bastogne stood. And if you see this, if you go watch this, you will see this play out. And it's tremendous, tremendous war scenes. But that's leadership. That's grit. That's what it means to be a protector, even when everything says quit. And it's a direct picture of what fatherhood and manhood requires. When you feel surrendered by debt, pressure, doubts, disappointments, you don't surrender. You don't quit. You hold your ground. You fight for your family, and you fight for the men that are watching you. Now, listen closely here, because I think this is where the rubber really begins to meet the road, because it's not just about war stories. We could tell those all day long, or business wins, many to be told. It's about your role as a husband, as a father, and as a man. Now, I know this. Your wife doesn't need a perfect man. She needs a man who can stand back up when life punches him down in the face and still choose love, still choose leadership, still choose to serve when would be easier to run. Now, that's not the Hollywood narrative, but that is true masculinity right there. Your kids don't need a dad who never failed. They need a dad who shows them how to respond when you do. That's how you lead. That's how you win in life. You know, real strength is when your kids see that dad got knocked down and chose character over comfort, chose truth over easy outs, chose to walk through the valley instead of abandoning the mountain. Men, the battle to be a good man runs right through the minefields of failure. But if you walk through it with resolve, your family doesn't just survive, they thrive. They rise because you refused to stay down. That's true leadership. That's a true husband. That's a true man. That's a true father. Let's turn to scripture. Now, let's talk about Joseph. We've turned to Joseph so many times. I love the story of Joseph. Favored son, dreamer, young man with vision. Then, betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, falsely accused, thrown into prison. He lost his home, lost his freedom, lost his dignity. Now, that's not just a rough patch, man. That is the bottom. But he stayed faithful, served well, trusted God. And so years later, Pharaoh pulls him out of a prison. Joseph interprets a dream that no one else could. And Pharaoh places him second in command over all of Egypt. Now, Joseph didn't just win, he saved a nation. He saved his family, and he forgave those who betrayed him. He said, "You intended him to harm me, but God intended it for good." That's in Genesis chapter 50, verse 20. Men, your lowest valleys might just be God's training ground for your highest calling. The stepping stones you need to be successful in life. And your family, they're watching quietly how you walk them through it. So, what is the cost, you may be wondering, of avoiding this fight? Well, some men just flat out check out. They hide behind work. They bury themselves in distractions. They say it's just a phase while their marriage slips and their kids drift. Let me tell you something. In my experience, your absence is just as destructive as your failure. And most of the time, men go AWOL not because they're evil, not because they're ashamed. They think their defeat disqualifies them. And I got to say, that's a lie straight from the devil. What if the defeat that you're hiding from, that temporary defeat is what it is, that you're hiding from, is actually the doorway to the man that your family needs you to be? Now, if you want to lead well, if you want to win at home, here are 3 commitments I think you should live by. Lead even when you're bleeding. Put a Band-Aid on it, right? You don't wait until you have it all figured out. You show up even when it hurts. You play with a limp, man. You admit it when you're wrong. You ask for forgiveness. You listen more than you speak. Guys, that's how trust is built at home. And teach the lessons of loss. You know, your family doesn't think you're perfect. Your kids need to know how you handle failures so you can teach them. Let them see your failures, but also let them see your resolve. Help them understand that defeat is not the end, unless you quit. And of course, pray like a warrior. You can't win the spiritual battle in your home by sitting on the sidelines. Pray it out loud. Cover your wife, bless your kids, speak life into your home like your legacy depends on it. Because I'll tell you, my brothers, it does. So finally, how do we turn temporary defeat into lasting legacy? Well, let me ask you, what loss are you still carrying around? What battle are you tempted to walk away from? Where have you believed the lie that you're finished? The story isn't over. The loss didn't kill you. It was training. It was a training ground, a test. You can't have a testimony without a test. The comeback is still available, but you've got to decide. Will you rise and reclaim your ground? Or are you going to retreat and watch everything you love fade away? Man, your family is waiting, the world is watching, and God is calling your name. Through every challenge, through every setback, fight, 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 and win, win, win. You weren't made to play small. You were made to lead, to protect, to overcome, to rise. Because the path to victory always runs straight through defeat, but only for the men strong enough to walk it. Now, we all want to talk about winning, of course, because it feels good. But what I can tell you is this: I've lost far more than I've won in life, and I have the scars to prove it. But those scars, well, they tell a story. They tell a story of redemption. They tell a story of a comeback. They've made and created a second chance in life. And they make those temporary defeats feel like a badge of honor. How about that? So it's true. In the end, don't you think that temporary defeats, when you work at it, is really the path to winning? Well, I hope you enjoyed this podcast today. It was an interesting subject matter. I just happened to catch the news and got to hear Trump's speech, whether you like him or not. It's a very powerful thing that he said to the troops, and I think it resonates with not just men, but all Americans. We all want to win. But you know what I've found is that we don't get to win until we understand how to fight through those temporary defeats that come our way in our life. So if this is something that you're struggling with, let me know. Happy to talk with you about it. If you want to talk more about temporary defeats and winning, you can go to my website, truemanlifecoaching.com. My calendar's all over that thing. You can send me an email at mike@truemanlifecoaching.com if you would like to talk to me. So again, thank you so much for joining me this week. And you can get my book, be a great gift for dad on Father's Day. Just go out to truemanlifecoaching.com, click on books, and it'll take you right over there so you can get True Man, True Ways. I'd be honored for you to do that. So I hope this subject matter really hit home with you today, because I want you to be a winner. I know you're capable of being a winner, and I know you want to win too. And until next week, God bless you. Thank you for listening. Now go out and make this your very best day ever.